Okay, so we've given it a chance to dry overnight, 24 hours. I see because of the liquid and all the paint is completely dry. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to slowly build up the details, but starting much more general. We're not going into the tiny highlights and all those sorts of details. We're looking at the general forms of some of the bigger shapes of lights and darks and trying to develop those first. So I'm going to start by picking up the light that's along the side, and that's going to be again, take a little bit of liquid. It's going to be the burnt sienna. When we lighten it, we don't want to go right to white, so we're just going to get a little bit of yellow in it, so it's kind of golden. And then we'll pull in a little bit of white. Maybe get a little bit more in the mix. And then, because things look different, like I said last time on the palette rather than on the painting, we're going to make a little mark, and that looks a little bit light, so I'm just going to bring in a bit more of the sienna. Ideally you'd have a gray, a mid-tone gray palette. If you're working with glass or plastic, you can put a gray board underneath, but these disposable palettes only seem to come in one color, which is white. So then I'm going to come along the edge here and just put in a little bit of lightness. And the nice thing about, well, one of the tricks about getting a crisp line is to only worry about one edge. In this case, I'm worried about the outside edge. Don't worry about the inside edge. In other words, you could make this line really fat if you wanted to, like that. And then when we do the dark, we will just push into that light. Okay, so the trick with thin lines is really just paint the side that matters the most. Don't worry about the other side, and then just shrink it by painting the other side, which is usually putting a dark or a lighter color on it. So I'm going to come in here. You can see it's a little bit wet, so I'm going to take some off. Just kind of thin that out. So now it's really thick, which is okay. I'm going to come along the edge here. And the nice thing about it being dry is it allows me to put my hand right on the painting. So I've got something to sort of brace against. And I'm going to go a little bit lighter with this. It's also kind of foggy in the picture, so getting white in there actually makes a lot of sense. And then I'm going to continue this down. It just sort of fades away. As it comes down. Okay, just even it out a little bit. Like I said, I'm gonna put the dark on the other side to thin it out, but while I have this color on my brush, it makes sense to kind of look for the rest of the image and think, okay, where can I put it? And I could actually put it a little bit lower so it picks up its lightness again as it comes into this light area below. And then I'm going to just highlight some of these bottom areas where it's the brightest. And I have another one on this side. So I'm going to come along here. And I'm going to come down. Having a hard time with the light reflecting from the lighting for the camera, so I'm just going to come around this side. going to turn this up a little bit, meaning accenting it, make it a little bit more pronounced. So I'm just going through the picture and I'm looking for where I can find excuses to put this light. And then I've got a couple of streaks, which are reflections. One's going to be the pear, and it's going to be about here. It's a little bit light. And we do get some sort of trailing lights. Now I'm looking at pretty thin lines and details. But while I have that color, I just want to get them in there. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over. I'm going to go to my darker color. And that'll allow me to thin this line. And because when lights meet dark, they tend to enhance each other. It's an optical phenomena where things get enhanced that are opposites. So I'm just going to darken up this line. Is that dark enough? No. Put some more blue in it. Now I'll come back to my brown sienna. You can see I had some light color on the brush there. That's okay. I don't want that to be too pronounced, so I'm going to go over it, both edges with a brush. You can see my fingers making marks on here. Just kind of get those wet and very lightly. You don't want to rub too hard because you can't activate because it's not 100% dry. Pull in that dark. Okay, come onto this side over here and I can kind of transition this light piece. Darken that. That kind of brings a little emphasis to that shape. It also allows me to thin it. I want to keep the transitions here soft. and it's going to continue past this line. It's going to come below here, but I'm not doing that just yet. Okay, so now I'm going to just find a few more places I can tuck in some darks, and it's going to be on the side here. So I'll get a bit more blue, ultramarine blue. And then just come around here. Whoops, a little bit too far. And notice I've got a lot of dark right in here at the bottom of the neck where it meets the shoulders of the bottle. So I'm going to just emphasize that. Okay, so you're getting the idea of kind of how I'm applying sort of darks and lights and dealing with strong edges, thinning outlines, things like that. I'm not going to film this entire process because it just takes time. It's going to take probably another hour. So what I'll do next is I'm going to start to speed up the film so you can see how everything's going without having to wait so patiently just watching me.